Gabriel Jesus, are you sure? Gabriel Jesus is adamant Arsenal do not need to go looking for a number 9 because they have one already. I'm not sure about that, Gabriel Jesus. Shout out to you for scoring a hat trick. We all pray you and the existing Arsenal attackers, including Bukayo Saka's form, gets better and better and better. Obviously, Saka's doing his thing. You know, you could argue, Gabriel Jesus, you are the modern day number 9, but the goals don't suggest such. All the other facets do. You could also argue if you were to get into the Arsenal team or for the benefit of Arsenal's team, you're probably better off the left. Allegedly, the Brazilian forward defended his scoring record for the Gunners and says critics don't watch the game. Ooh, I wonder what he said there. To be fair, though, without looking at what he said, and we're going to look at it, I agree generally with that statement for most players in football. I do think in football, many people don't watch the game. They watch the game for narratives. They simply watch the highlights or watch social media and draw conclusions. Equally, there is games where naturally a striker could play rubbish for 90 minutes, but they've scored, and one could be man of the match, but hasn't necessarily scored, which presents its own pros and cons in the game, people. What exactly have you said? Big up to you for scoring your hat trick on Wednesday evening, people. That means he scored just twice in all comps in 2024, and it was his first goal at the Emirates for a year. To be fair, though, Gabriel Jesus, isolated to your incident, boy, that's shocking statistics for someone of your ability. We know injuries have played a part. He's got 23 goals in 90 appearances for Arsenal, which should evidently be better. But you know, considering the goal scoring issues you had at Manchester City, can't say I'm surprised. He's yet to score in the Premier League this season in 13 appearances, starting just twice, people. Kai Havertz has just one league goal since mid-October. Now, I'm not getting at Kai Havertz or Gabriel Jesus. It's more how we've assembled this squad, really and truly, because going forward, and there's definitely something for Mikel Arteta to do within strikers. Spending money doesn't mean everything. You know, Chelsea, I'm sure, are happy with their attacking options, but they've missed a trick many a time. Man United, the same. Spurs, the same. City, you know, you can afford to have Grealish for 100 million, not doing much. Liverpool, probably of the teams here, probably got the best success ratio where it comes to spending on attackers in this period. You know, you look at Arsenal, we're at 134 million, which, you know, the closest to us is Liverpool. When you start looking at City, Spurs, Man United, and Chelsea, they've dwarfed us really. Now, of course, context has got to apply. I'm not saying to spend money for no reason, but I do think if you was to flip this and look at money spent on defenders, it might tell us something. But Mikel Arteta, you know, the attackers that you've amassed are decent players. Jesus is not bad. Kai Havertz is not bad. Trossard is not bad. Martinelli is not bad. And in terms of being challengers, we've got enough there. If we want to win the league, then we need answers to the questions. Who is going to get 20 league goals? Who is going to put up Bukayo Saka's numbers? Who's even going to put up half of Bukayo Saka's numbers? Because that would help us a lot. So maybe that says something in itself. And obviously, if all of these attackers aren't pulling their weight, they have to take responsibility. But if they're all failing to a degree and we've got issues around open play, are we putting our best foot forward tactically, people? And then again, you know, none of these players were bought by themselves. Obviously, Kai Havertz has done a lot better than many fans would have expected, definitely when he signed for the club in the first half of last season. But ultimately, you know, he's a player that can contribute, be part of the squad, be a first team regular, but he's not that cold blooded forward we need. So I'm not surprised where you've spent 45 million, you know, that's over 100 million, actually over 100 million on Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz, let alone the rest. Now, of the attackers, excluding Bukayo Saka, Trossard's probably been the one to pull his weight. Martinelli's struggles have continued to the point where I look at that season, he had great goal scoring, and I think was that a purple patch? And it kills me to say that, being devil's advocate, because you lot know me, I'm a big fan of Gabby Martinelli, but that's just maybe some food for thought, people, since Mikel Arteta's appointment. Now, again, context has to apply over these 5 years. There's been different priorities. We've had to shift some players out, bring other players in. Certain stopgap signings didn't work. I would say where you look at last season, or maybe even the first season we fought for the title, but I would say last season to now, it's become apparent you need to get that versatile left winger. You need to get a striker, or at least one of the two. You need a number 8, etc., people, you know. But yeah, good food for thought. Let me know your thoughts on the graph, by the way. Getting back into Gabriel Jesus, I mean, it's a madness. No goal for Kai Havertz since mid-October. Gabriel Jesus ain't scored in the Premier League in his 13 appearances. Boy, Martinelli struggles continue. Trossard struggles continue. They've got more goals than them. Not that, well, than Jesus. Not that that's anything to scream and shout about. And it's in Saka we trust, as we know, people. Jesus has said a lot of people don't watch the game. They just see the stats the day after and see who scored. I want to score every game like everyone else, but sometimes we don't have chances. People say Gabby played 20 games and scored once, but they don't see I am coming on for 5 or 10 minutes, which is true. Against City, I came on as a left wing back, which was probably one of your better performances. And I know we drew, but I think that was one of our best performances, City away down to 10 men, really, if I'm honest with you. Against Palace was the first game I played a full 90 minutes without cramp, a problem in my life always, which we want to see you in the best of health, Jesus. Sometimes if you're not playing, it is harder to come on and make an impact, which is true, but it's a double-edged sword in that, you know, generally with the struggles on the left hand side, you can make a case of Gabriel Jesus or even Raheem Sterling getting an opportunity, but you need to take it like a bit like what Trossard used to do. You know, yes, there's logic in, you know, if you get 5 starts or you know you're allowed to build up that match fitness, is difficult to impact when you're getting 10 and 20 minutes and 5 minutes. That's true, but the only way to get more than that is to impact. And Gabriel Jesus, can you honestly say, where you look at our attackers, that you're a better option up front than Kai Havertz right now? Then you're better off the right than Bukayo Saka? Obviously not. Are you genuinely a better option than Trossard? Are you genuinely a better option than Martinelli? For someone that's in their late 20s, won the league at City, you know, one of the figureheads of Arsenal becoming title challenges. We all remember that first 6 months. If you can't really answer that, then this is where you're at, really. Yes, there's greater logic with Mikel Arteta needing to rotate his squad and do all of that. But when we're trying to win a league, I can question mark the signings, but you need more answers than questions. And you provide too many questions rather than answers. You're not one of the first names on the team sheet. Kai Havertz is not a better footballer than you, but he's shown more consistency than you. He's made a difference a lot more than you. And unfortunately, in my opinion, for you, Kai Havertz to you right now, the drop off is mad. Now, I hope that changes naturally, because if everyone's pulling their weight, we're great, isn't it, really and truly? He said, I'm not complaining. He said, sometimes if you're not playing, it's harder to come on and make an impact. I'm not complaining. I'm not happy on the bench, but I'm professional. I've sometimes been unlucky, but I can create, I can run, help the team defending, which is why for me, you're an opportunity. You got an opportunity off the left, but the pressure to score goals will always be there. I am the number 9 for Arsenal. I like that. Even if I score 10, they'll ask for 20. And if it's for 20, they'll ask for 30. This is the life, which is true. I'm bang on the money in that regards, people. He also said, I knocked on the manager's door only one time in my life. I knocked on Pep Guardiola's door, not to complain, but to ask him, what can I improve? I would never go to Mikel's door and say, I want to play. I would never go to Mikel's door and say, I want to play. Arteta said the movement, the quality of touches, the way he finished, it's a message. We have got Gabby back to his best. We're going to have to see, people. And big up him, because, you know, his missus is pregnant with another child. Obviously, he took his kitty. Him and Raheem Sterling walked out with their kids in the build up to the game against Crystal Palace in the League Cup. And it was nice, obviously. Gabriel Jesus, you got your kids and family there, and it's an important week to see you score beyond the obvious, you know, reasons we need Gabriel Jesus to score goals. Please stop forcing this Marcus Rashford to Arsenal stuff, please. I'm not even going to read that, people. Again, I do think Arsenal need to dip into the transfer market. Whether we will, let me know your thoughts. I'm not sure. Arteta said, I never expect January to be super busy, but we have to wait and see where we are. Some surprises can come. We are prepared for that. Some opportunities, well, and we'll have to see. Hopefully the squad availability is going to be better in a few weeks, so we'll have to wait and see. I'd love to wake up and see prolonged fitness from Calafiori. I'd love to see a couple of players that are carrying knocks, shake them off. Would love to see Tomiyasu return. I don't know what we're going to do in January in terms of incomings and outgoings, because there's many players you can link with a move away from Arsenal for a variety of reasons, whether it's logical or not. Tomiyasu, Jorginho, Thomas Partey, Zinchenko, Trossard, Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, Kivior, if I haven't said his name, you know, Kieran Tierney, owing to the news that came out this week. I'm not saying I want them to go or not. I'm just saying, if I was a journalist and I needed to get clicks and I needed to make transfer news, you've got however many Arsenal players I just listed off for a variety of reasons. In fact, you just link Kivior with every team in Italy for the first 3 weeks in January, and you've kept the light bills on in your yard. So it all depends, man. We're getting into silly season, and it depends where you read. Romano has said, Arsenal will be attentive on the market in January, but I can guarantee that as of today, there are no concrete targets already decided or talks ongoing. I disagree with that. I think naturally every club has plans mainly for the summer, and to remain attentive over certain player situations in January. Equally, January is a reactive market. Players are being frozen out. Players are not happy with their game time. Certain players' contracts might be winding down, bust ups with managers, etc., etc. And why I'm only saying that is because naturally, who's the middleman between club signing players and obviously club players moving? It's the agents. So naturally, Arsenal and a lot of clubs, agents are gonna speak to sporting directors. Not that we got one right now in an official capacity, and try and gauge stuff, people. So we'll have to see. But I don't think Arsenal are going to do mad business in January. I would love to see Gyökeres and Kudus and Lookman and Nico Williams and this one and that one, the ones we're linked with. And I'd love to be wrong, especially where Kudus is concerned. I think he's wavy. Throw Bowen in as well. But dream chasing, is it not, Arsenal fans? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts. Are you more upbeat or pessimistic about Arsenal signing people in January? Do we need to sign people in January? I'm not sure. Let me know, people. I need to know you lot's thoughts. Now, there's very conflicting information around Gyökeres, people, and throughout this, you're going to see, and I'll let you draw your own conclusions. And again, let me know how you feel about Sesko, how you feel about Gyökeres. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, people. Big up you lot that have done that already, DG Nation. This article said, Arsenal remain in negotiations to sign Victor Gyökeres, although RB Leipzig star Benjamin Sesko is currently their top target. So if we're in negotiations to sign Gyökeres, but Sesko is our top target, does that say we're trying to get this done in January? Has Sesko said no to Arsenal? Has there been a change? Because surely you'd be negotiating with someone who apparently did all the groundwork and he didn't want to sign for us for whatever reason in the summer. It don't really make sense to me. And it's easy to link Gyökeres with a move away. Sporting will sell him one day. Amarin's gone to United. Arsenal need a forward. Again, it is what it is. It all depends what you read. Mikel Arteta is eager to sign a new number 9 in 2025. And we understand Sesko remains the Spaniard's preferred option. So, I mean, in a day and age where Arsenal need to find alternatives, we didn't get Mudryk, we got Trossard. We seem to, at times, if we can't get our first choice target, leave it out. So, I don't really believe this, but anyways, Sesko is heavily linked with a move to the Emirates during the most recent summer window, but he opted to sign a contract extension at Leipzig amid significant interest from a number of top Premier League clubs. Despite this, an exit is deemed a possibility next summer, and Arsenal are currently monitoring his situation as they look to bring a new centre forward to the club. Football Transfers has also been informed that Arsenal remain in contact with Sporting star Gyökeres, with the Sweden international looking to secure a transfer during the 2025 summer transfer window. I mean, maybe we're negotiating with both and we're trying to have our pick. Sporting are expected to sell the 26-year-old for a fee of around 65 million euros, and Newcastle are set to rival Arsenal in the race to sign him. Give us Isak. Sign my man as the replacement. We've been told that playing time assurances will be crucial for the Sweden forward, although he is determined to join a club who can offer Champions League football, which could prove a major hurdle for Eddie Howe's side. Sesko remains Arteta's priority centre forward target, but we've been informed that Arsenal will shift their focus entirely to Gyökeres if there is another setback in the pursuit of the RB Leipzig ace. Since joining Sporting from Coventry City for a measly 24 million euros last year, Gyökeres has scored 70 goals in 75 appearances for the Portuguese Giants, including a Champions League hat-trick against Manchester City. He's got a contract until 2028. But it all depends where you read, because Sammy Motbell said Arsenal have been consistently linked with Gyökeres. However, Mail Sport has learned that there are major reservations over a move for the player. Gyökeres has a reported 85 million release clause in his contract, a big financial commitment, particularly when you consider he'll be 27 by the time next season starts. But then Isak isn't that much younger than him, and he'd probably be more. But anywho, there are also said to be some concerns over whether he can replicate his goal-scoring record in one of Europe's major leagues, having built his reputation in Portugal. Where are you lot at with that, people? Not only with Gyökeres about some of the concerns, but two very conflicting bits and pieces of information there. Among the players who will be considered next summer is Isak, who for many is the leading candidate to fill the role as Arsenal's new attacking focal point. Isak ticks all the boxes for Mikel Arteta. There are, though, internal concerns over his injury record, particularly given the intensity of Arteta's teams, people. Again, who writ this? I think this is Ornstein. Ornstein has said, I think we should cast our gaze onto Isak. We have seen how unbelievably good he is when he's fit and in rhythm. There doesn't appear to be any progress on a new contract Newcastle have for him for several more years, and that perhaps opens the opportunity for clubs to make a push. He is someone that clubs have looked at very closely in the past. Arsenal, for example, looked at him when he was at Sociedad. Should have got him then, innit? They didn't end up doing it, and he went to Newcastle. Arteta is a known admirer of his, and I think in an ideal world, if they had their pick of strikers and money wasn't a factor, unfortunately, it's not an ideal world, then money is a factor. I do think Arsenal would seriously consider going for him, but finances are an issue, and he's going to cost a hell of a lot of money, and he has spent a lot of time out injured. So it all depends. Do we remain hopeful we can keep him fit? And injuries seem to be the only concerns. If he stays fit and he is the perfect striker for Mikel Arteta, great. Gyökeres, I think personally, is more agent-led, not even agent-led, journalist-led. And I think Sesko ticks the boxes. I think he's raw. I think they can develop him. I don't think he'll cost that much in comparison to some of the names being suggested, people. So it all depends what you read, people. And apparently Sesko remains of concrete interest. The club will continue to monitor him and will allegedly be in a strong position to strike, having already completed much of the groundwork if the player is identified as their main target. Apparently, people, Gyökeres will cost Sesko will cost 62.25 million in 2025, or 75 million euros. Last summer he would have cost 65 million euros, 54 million pounds for the 21-year-old who has 11 goals and 3 assists this season. He literally scored yesterday as well, against Bayern Munich, before Bayern Munich thumped up Leipzig, people. So yeah, apparently Arsenal's recruitment staff, in liaison with Mikel Arteta, are gearing up towards making a significant outlay on a striker this summer. So is that us being briefed by the Daily Mail and the journalist that if you had any hope of moving for anyone in January, forget about it? The identity of who they go for remains an ongoing process and will depend on a myriad of factors: age, cost, injuries, and experience. I mean, that goes for everyone. Part of the reason Arsenal decided against signing a striker in the summer was due to how Kai ended the season. In negotiations with potential centre-forward signings ahead of the current campaign, it's understood that Arsenal provided no assurances that they would play ahead of Havertz, but there's an acceptance now they need greater firepower. Speaking of firepower, PSG allegedly have made contact with Victor Osimhen ahead of a January approach. As you know, he's currently at Galatasaray. I think that can be broken up, things and whatnot. He was of interest to Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, etc., but nobody, for whatever reason, whether it's the agent fee, his wages, what Napoli were asking, he ended up in Turkey, and it respectfully to Galatasaray in the Turkish league. But I know some of you would be thinking, oh, should we go back in for that? I'm not too sure. Obviously, I would love Arsenal to sign Ryan Cherki in January, people. He's contracted until 2026. Allegedly, Lyon would need to sell, people. They would like to keep him. Apparently, could be got for 30 million euros. And I genuinely think if he wants it, personally, I think he can be one of the best in the game, people. If I'm brutally honest with you, I think he can be one of the best footballers around. He's got the talent. He just really and truly got to want it. I hope we can sign people in January, but for me, seeing is believing.
I think